Xing Wang, an honest and upright college student whose only hobby is to enjoy various anime, got a transformation system and traveled to a terrestrial world after a car accident on his way back to school. Does Xing Wang, who travels through a terrestrial world and becomes a variety of anime characters, bring opportunities, disasters, or just a bunch of funny stories to the world? Feilu Novel Network reminds you that this novel and its characters are purely fictional. If there are any similarities, they are purely coincidental and should not be imitated. Chapter 1 begins. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Headache, or headache. The last memory is when the out-of-control truck rushed towards the taxi I was riding in. In a daze, Xing Wang seemed to hear a very cute voice slowly saying something about binding, hosting, and so on. Did he gain the system like he often reads in anime novels? With this thought that made him feel like he wanted to laugh, Xing Wang fell into a deep sleep. Dear, wake up. The sun is in the sky. A cute voice rang out again, and at the same time, a soft touch came from his cheeks. Under the double attack, Xing Wang successfully opened his eyes. I saw a cute twin ponytailed girl who looked very similar to Shizaki Kozo lying by the bed, with a white finger poking her cheek. This sudden situation made Xing Wang, who was originally honest, completely sober up with just one shock. Following the titanium alloy-like straightforwardness of her heart, she looked up and down at the DCP girl wearing a gothic lowly dress beside the bed and said the ultimate straight male language that could make many passers-by cover their faces. Damn it, girl, who are you? Puff. As if unable to hold it back, a girl like Shichi Kwang-san naturally covered her mouth, but the gentle laughter still clearly reached Xing Wang's ears. Dear host, this won't please girls. So let me introduce myself first. I am your system, you can call me System G. In the previous world, the taxi you were in was hit by a big truck, and then, just like in a novel, you were reborn here, or rather transported to this world. And it also comes with a transformation system that can turn you into your favorite anime character before. My current image has changed according to one of your favorite anime characters before. Host, do you like it? It's really fake. I don't have a car, a house, or money. I'm just a college student with one standard and 3 no's, and my health has always been poor. Even if I cut my waist, I can't sell it. There's nothing you can deceive me about. Don't waste your time on me. Unlike some highly receptive individuals, Xing Wang seems to have not yet accepted the reality of time travel. Even Mad Sans Mouth Mania has been restored to the same, and Systemic G said without caring, Dear host, I know you may find it difficult to accept at the first time. Please try to summon the system interface in your mind yourself, and I believe that the ability you have gained in your own mind is more convincing than what I am saying here. So, I'll leave first. After the words fell, System G gave Xing Wang a Western-style lady's salute and disappeared with a whole golden light. Such an anti-scientific scene shook Xing Wang's mind for a moment, coupled with the sound he heard before when he was unconscious. Holding on to the idea that there was no danger in my mind and it wouldn't turn into a funny situation of trying and passing away, according to the words of System G just now, I silently recited in my mind. Summoning System. Dear host, the system is reporting that you currently have 0 available transformation characters, 0 available clones, 10 available lucky draws, 1 available system image, Shizaki Crazy 3, 0 available inheritance, 0 controllable followers, and 0 world line fluctuations. In addition, the system comes with host pathogen privacy protection, which can be turned off, and the system teleportation. 1, current room. This is really true. Not knowing how to describe his emotions, Xing Wang forcefully focused his attention on the keywords mentioned in the system, such as transformation, clone, lottery, inheritance, followers, world line fluctuations, and secret protection. And in the introduction and explanation of the system, I have gained a detailed understanding of the current role of my system. Transformation. It refers to transforming into various anime characters and acquiring their abilities. The character's abilities are related to the character cards drawn, but the host can increase their abilities through later learning, including acquiring abilities that did not belong to the character before. Clone. It means obtaining a clone that is completely obedient to oneself, absolutely obedient, absolutely loyal, and can be retrieved at any time or replaced by a pathogen at any time. Lottery. Various character cards, item cards, and ability cards can be drawn. Character cards are divided into 4 types: white, blue, purple, and gold. Most white anime characters belong to the category of everyday anime and have no special abilities. The blue character card has certain special abilities, which may be a character with poor abilities, but it may also be the initial stage of a certain protagonist. The purple character cards are all very powerful anime characters, or some protagonists who have grown up to the middle stage. Gold character cards are extremely rare, all powerful characters in various anime that can destroy planets. There is also a special System G card that is given to the System G separately inheritance. It refers to specifying an anime character that can be transformed, so that the clone or follower can transform into an anime character or only acquire their abilities. You can specify that only partial abilities can be obtained, or you can specify a time limit for transformation, and inheritance can be reclaimed at any time. However, an anime character can only be assigned to one follower or clone, and reassigning transformed anime characters requires reclaiming the previous inheritance. Follower. There is no limit, it can be any person or creature, even trees and stones. It should be noted that non-living beings can only transform into tree monsters or stone monsters with the same attributes. Followers do not necessarily need to know the existence of the owner, but the host can check the follower's situation at any time, and similarly, the transformation ability can be reclaimed at any time. Worldline fluctuation. Refers to the degree of influence that an anime character brings to the world, ranging from 0 to 10, which means that the maximum influence of an anime character is 10, and the influence is equal to the number of new lottery wins. Privacy protection. As long as the host is willing, neither physical or mental consciousness can detect and record any situation of the host. The host's itinerary, appearance, money flow, and even online browsing cannot be recorded and read, but it is limited to the main pathogen, and the clone does not have this ability. Although it's not the incredibly strong dragon-proud sky system, what suits oneself is the best. Especially with this clone and stealth protection, it's great whether I want to be behind the scenes or just face it. Now that I have the system, although I also enjoy the peaceful life I used to have, the thought of transforming into various anime characters and becoming heroes or villains is too exciting. In short, since we have traveled, let's take a good look at this new world first. Chapter 2. The New World. You are listening at novelfull.audio. A new day begins when Xing Wang wakes up from bed again. Although I learned about the system and the current situation last night, my murky mind made me unable to resist falling asleep for a while. After all, although the built-in privacy protection of the system is not as powerful as Invincible Flow, it is still not a problem to avoid some midnight snacks. And last night, after understanding the general situation of the system, Xing Wang insisted on using the computer next to his bed to understand the general situation of the world before falling asleep. Although it is a quick remedy, I also have a basic understanding that this world is roughly the same in terms of technology as the world I traveled through before. The cultural differences in some regions are not significant, but the geographical differences are very large. In Xing Wang's own words, the whole of Asia and Oceania are gone. A 3 times Pacific Ocean called the World Ocean divides the land on this planet into 4 continents and some scattered islands, with 1 continent at each pole. The place where I am currently located is a constitutional monarchy consisting of 7 islands called Sakura Kingdom in the middle of the ocean. However, one of the islands was forced by the lighthouse country in the northeast mainland to establish a garrison, with the reason of maintaining the shipping route of the world's oceans. In fact, people with discerning eyes know what's going on. Perhaps due to the scarcity of land in this world, resources are relatively scarce, and there are fewer hot wars and conflicts. In modern history, most of the time, countries have cooperated to develop the ocean. This is also a scientific world. Although there is religion, there is nothing magical or supernatural about it. Xing Wang's identity has also changed, from being a college student to a cherry blossom high school student who has just entered high school. His height has also changed from 1.8 meters in college to 1.75 meters, returning to his youthful and handsome appearance in high school, although he himself said he was also very handsome in college. Now I am living alone in a Japanese-style courtyard left by my parents, and the situation of my relatives is unknown. When Xing Wang learned his current identity from his student ID and the diary in his room, he still looked bewildered and said that it was truly a journey with a system, at least avoiding the super awkward scene of running to the new world to recognize his new parents. The place to live may not be a wealthy mansion, but at least it should be, and the small courtyard where I live alone also tries to ensure my privacy. After walking around the yard a few times to familiarize himself with the environment, Xing Wang went to the restroom and washed his face seriously before returning to his room on the second floor. At the same time, he called out the system's G and called up the system's lottery panel. Yesterday, my brain was a jerk and I haven't figured out the situation yet. So now let's draw a lottery first and see what we can get. Getting out of Africa and entering Europe is right now, kneeling down and praying for blessings. With the enthusiasm of watching anime, the lottery interface of the system spun wildly. In less than 2 seconds, the first white light flew out of the turntable and surrounded oneself. Shit, the first one is white, it's black. Although he had been prepared for his luck, the first one who came out of the white could not help roast, and could not help looking at System G who was wearing a black gothic lowly dress nearby. Dear host, it has nothing to do with what color of clothes System G wears, and your favorite is not the black divine power spirit outfit of Shizaki Kwang-san. Although she said so, the curved corners of System G's mouth still exposed her little devil personality. Even my character is the same as the crazy Trinity model. By the way, Systemic G, I won't be affected by the character's original character in the future, will I? No, dear host. Your physical transformation will only affect your appearance and ability, and will not have any impact on your mind or spirit. As for clones, you can choose whether to imitate the personality of the transformed character. As for followers, it is recommended that you study them yourself. Isn't that interesting? Sure enough, as if wanting to play a prank, everyone except the host carries malice, truly deserving of the title of Shizaki Kwang-san, the most evil elf. Return your attention to the white light ball around you, a character card begins to appear in mid-air, and at the same time, the system's prompt sound appears in your mind. Congratulations to the host for obtaining the white character card. Mary-air in Flower Right Capital Maid's team. The pattern of a blue-haired girl wearing a white maid outfit appeared on the card, with light blue eyes gently gazing ahead. Hua Yujing Maid Team. The 2001 anime. At that time, my brother was still in elementary school. If it weren't for a period of time when he was interested in the theme of maids, he might not have known about this old anime. Looking at the character card he had drawn, Xing Wang immediately recognized it. Isn't Mary-air the maidservant inside? How did she get a girl? Does this require me to transform? No, absolutely not. My head can be broken, blood can flow, and my second brother must not be thrown away. The expression suddenly became incredibly firm. Where did the host think of it? I didn't say it would cause you to become a pathogen, but you could let your clone change or let future followers change. System G's words reminded Xing Wang. And Mary-air is a maid with strong household skills, which is quite practical for you who currently live alone, in various ways. Ignoring the last few words of the system, indeed, a practical and trustworthy maid is very suitable for her current situation. Although I know how to do household chores, having a professional maid is definitely much better than doing it myself, and Mariere's appearance is also quite high, making it look pleasing to the eye. But that would require obtaining a clone. Shaking his head, he refocused his thoughts on drawing cards. Thinking of the first time it was white, Xing Wang took 8 breaths this time, drawing 6 white and 2 blue. Although there were 2 blue, only 1 character card was released. Congratulations to the host for gaining physical strength, white, proficiency in various languages on Oceania Star, white, the latest personal home computer, white, the latest complete set of game computer accessories, white, the Oceania Star Game Platform XT complete set of games, white, boxing proficiency, white, clone *2, blue, and a fish man along, blue, in The King of Navigation. I shouldn't believe in my luck, really. Forget about computers and games, just treat myself as if I love you well. What the hell is that fish man, along? Faced with the result drawn, Xing Wang began to ponder. Although I can be a little thug, that one is a fish man. Isn't that the change that destroys my handsome, charming image, which combines wisdom and beauty? Watching Xing Wang take on an OTL shape on the tatami mat, imitating the system of Shizaki Kwang-san, Ji couldn't help but show a little devil's smile again. Dear host, have you forgotten 2 very important things? Didn't you draw a clone *2? And isn't the image of the fish man and dragon just right for affecting the world line? Yeah, the greater the influence of the world line, the more lucky draws you get. Well, System G, are you sure you're not encouraging me to cause trouble? Isn't that good? You've all traveled through time, isn't that a traveler actively or passively causing trouble? And you can also perform as a positive hero yourself. The so-dot called destruction and trouble are under your control, and both the positive hero and the negative boss are under your control. Isn't it great to use your favorite anime character to stage a truly beloved anime story on such a grand stage as Oceania Star? Chapter 3. Starting Point. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The city where Xing Wang is located is Yokohama-K, the largest port city in Sakura country. As night falls, the harbor in August becomes chilly even in the scorching summer with the sea breeze blowing. On the edge of the massive port, a group of people were entering the unloading area through a hidden door in the corner. Boss, the goods from the Alliance seem to be good this time. A few yellow-haired thugs are following the muscular bald boss to open a container in a corner. Gray areas are extremely common on this island nation, which is a transportation hub in the ocean. Even in the most tightly guarded international seaports, dense containers block the view of cameras and patrol personnel. Although the bald leader's gang cannot follow the high-level route of other major gangs, they have also obtained such a secret route through a few guards. The key is that this secret door is still filled with imported food and other bulk commodities, and whether one gains or loses depends entirely on luck. The advantage is that as long as the bulk commodities are lost less, they can be counted as normal transportation damage, so a few guards can be bought in. Well, good luck, this time the box here happens to contain high-end foreign wine. Last time, a pile of rice was so infuriating that I almost didn't have enough money to bribe the guards. Little ones, be quick with your movements. And just as these little thugs were about to take action, a very sudden sound of footsteps was coming from far to near. Wait a minute, the guards around here have all been bribed tonight and given us the patrol routes in advance. There should be no one coming this time. Be clever, little ones. Lowering his voice, the bald boss reminded a few thugs and they quickly hid in the shadow of the container. As the footsteps approached, the figure of the newcomer also became apparent. A beach outfit from the Nanyang Islands, with a blue-green skin that doesn't resemble human skin, a sharp serrated nose and mouth, and a sun-shaped tattoo on the body, carrying a huge serrated machete. Rather than being some kind of fanatical film and television actor, it's more like a killer. Although he looks fierce, his overall human appearance makes Bald Boss a bit less afraid. He looked at several people on his side, and for safety reasons, he even brought a handgun with a silencer, so he secretly gave a hint to the younger brothers. Coming forward. This sensitive time, such a sensitive location, and whether it's true or not, that machete is really terrifying. Even if it's just a guy running out in the middle of the night to scare people, then it's his fault for not finding a good place. With the bald leader's suggestion, several little brothers secretly took out the knives in their arms. This is exactly a clone of Xing Wang's transformation into a fish man, Long. At that time, although System G persuaded Xing Wang to take the initiative to cause trouble, as a newcomer who had just crossed the river, his conscience and cautious thoughts still suggested tolerating it for a while. In the end, Xing Wang only allowed Long to sneak to some places with rampant and chaotic crimes reported online to take a look. At least intelligence is absolutely essential. And on the first stop, I happened to encounter these guys stealing things in the port. Perhaps it was because Xing Wang forgot to remind him, or perhaps it was because of Long's inherent arrogance of the Fishman tribe, which led to the so-called secret investigation becoming the way he is now, directly wielding his sword and embarking on the road. Thanks to these thieves, at least when he came out of the water in front of the thieves, Long was not seen by the guards and cameras. As a pirate with a bounty of 3 million Bailey in the One Piece, Long easily discovered several thugs hiding in the dark and their bosses, as well as open containers and several red wine barrels lying on the ground. But also because he was accustomed to seeing swords and firearms, he didn't show much concern for the guys who were preparing to launch a surprise attack with these knives. Moreover, considering that the main reason was to inquire and that the other party, although armed, could only be considered a thief, Long originally intended to let go of the other party. Xing Wang was currently receiving Mary's shoulder service at home and did not pay attention to Long, but the other party seemed to be ungrateful. There was no suspense in the battle, and the sharp serrated knife easily tore through the human body. A few thugs were instantly killed by a single blow as soon as they rushed out of the shadows. The boss, who was intimidated by Long's formidable combat power, hurriedly pulled out his gun, and before he could aim it, his hand bone was crushed by a squeeze. He was in pain and didn't have time to scream when his serrated knife hit his head. In less than 10 seconds, the bald boss and his little brothers became large pieces of broken garbage on the ground, while Long just casually shook off the blood on his knife and fled into the shadow to the next place to scout. Perhaps it was under the shock of Long's own aura, or perhaps most of the little thugs here didn't know how much yellow soup they had poured tonight. This night's reconnaissance turned into a truly wild hunting journey. After all, Long, the pirate, has no good habit of being lenient. 10 small black alleys, 4 of which have left traces of serrated knives, along with the port. At least 20 thugs went to the underworld to report. After Xing Wang remembered and observed Long through the system, he realized that the situation had escalated, so he urgently retrieved the clone. Although this operation was enlarged, the incident occurred in hidden alleys and other places, and Long took action very quickly. The killed thug was killed without even a chance to shout, so he was not discovered by outsiders until Xing Wang retrieved it. And when Xing Wang retrieved his clone, the system's prompt sound suddenly rang in his mind. Congratulations to the host for reaching the legendary level of Chengdu City, winning 2 points of world line fluctuation and 2 lucky draws. Urban legends. Do you mean Long's operation tonight? Indeed, I used a cold weapon to chop down more than 20 thugs in one night, at several different locations. I estimate it will make headlines in the newspaper tomorrow. Even if the authorities consider influencing and suppressing it, this matter will still be spread in various ways in the underworld. And the ones who die are all some gangsters in society. Every person who attacks Long either carries a knife or a gun. Who knows how many heinous things they have done elsewhere. This is Oceania, another world, an unfamiliar place called Sakura Country, not Earth, not his original world, nor the place he used to be familiar with. So Xing Wang thought for a moment and felt relieved. However, for the first time facing the dark side of society like this, Xing Wang still had some discomfort. Gentle Mary brought him a cup of hot milk and accompanied him with System G to play a game called Ocean Star on his new computer, which diverted his attention and allowed him to sleep peacefully. Although Xing Wang fell asleep, the incident was not over. When the first police call rang at the East Yokohama District Police Station in Yokohama, it indicated that the other party's busyness was about to begin. Chapter 4. Ideological Transformation. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. When the first ray of the sun shone back on the earth, the docks in the East Yokohama area were already filled with police from Sakura Country, and a warning line was set up near the container where the incident occurred. Outside the port area, journalists from all walks of life were like sharks smelling blood, holding various long guns and short cannons high, hoping to get the latest news materials. The public security in Sakura Kingdom is still very good on the surface, even though this country has a legal and eerie system like Yakuza. In most cases the underworld is still relatively low-key. The police have mostly turned a blind eye to these guys who have paid enough protection fees, but the casualties in this incident are really significant, and even internal conflicts in the underworld rarely have such casualties. And several survivors who were scared unconscious on the spot are still in the hospital, with the only one who can describe the situation relatively normally being a guy who was drunk in a bar. He was also frightened and fell into the trash can at the entrance of the alley, probably not being attacked because of it. However, the two clues in that guy's testimony, a tall man over 2 meters tall and a blue mask resembling a tengu, made the police struggle like a needle in a haystack in various mask images. The most direct and useful clue that the police ultimately obtained was that there was only one person on the other side. As for height, looking at those scared guys, did they really see the height and appearance of the other side clearly? But he's really a terrifying guy. Several people were cut in one fell swoop, and this wound doesn't seem like a swordsmanship technique, it's more like a brute force cut open. It requires a lot of strength. A forensic officer who was conducting an autopsy sighed at the body. And there are several places where the estimated time of death is not very different. If it is really the same person who committed the crime, it indicates that the speed of the killer's murder and transfer is very fast. So you still don't quite believe that there's only one killer right now. Believe it or not, we just need to submit the autopsy report. How to solve the case is up to the search class. Is that all for now? There was a crime that happened to happen behind a small magazine, and with the speed of those journalists, it's probably already on the news of those countries across the sea. Anyway, it's the people above who have a headache. Let's just fix this on site. Empathy. Compared to the anxieties of the police, the rush of journalists, and the anxiety of some nearby residents. Xing Wang had just woken up and was eating breakfast under Mary's service. The time of crossing over is Saturday, and today is Sunday, so there is no need to go to school, which also allows me to familiarize myself with my high school identity. The high schools in Sakura Country are very similar to those in Japan in the former world. However, due to Xing Wang being a transfer student, he did not join any clubs and only attended classes for a short 2 days. Xing Wang couldn't help but thank the system once again for providing him with the identity, without deliberately pretending to prevent him from passing through, and without having to worry about maintaining relationships. A blank social space is most suitable for one's current way of thinking. With this in mind, Xing Wang once again opened the lottery function of the system. In the previous 10 draws, he deliberately left one chance for a draw to prevent future emergencies. And last night's 2 new opportunities made Xing Wang prepare to try his luck again now. Wash your face and hands first, then perform a series of tedious, mystical, and awkward rituals that can carve out 3 bedrooms and 2 living rooms. And specially ask System G to change into a white maid outfit. Xing Wang devoutly turned the lottery wheel. Gold. 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 Damn it, double blue is not a loss. Just like the self-deprecating language of the gambling dog when the draw failed, System G, who was watching next to her, once again began to forcibly suppress a smile. Xing Wang did not hesitate to impose a face-pinching punishment on her, and then opened the 2 blue light balls. Congratulations to the host for obtaining character cards for Naruto, Uchiha Sasuke, during the Nakano exam period, Slippery Sun, and Kawakami. Although they were all blue cards, having 2 characters in a row still made Xing Wang a little happy. These 2 are not very strong in various powerful anime. But for the current situation, both are very applicable roles. Sasuke, as one of the main characters in Naruto, is known for his practical ninjutsu techniques such as Sharingan, Thousand Bird, and Phoenix Fire, let alone his life saving stunt double. As a snow maiden, Bingley, although Xing Wang does not know how to use it to transform into a pathogen, is very suitable for handing it over to a clone or passing it on to create an urban legend of a snow maiden to earn a world-class wave point, but she needs to find a better opportunity. The system determined that although the legend of a killer city wearing a Tengu mask created by A Long was accidental, the 2 world line fluctuations he successfully obtained allowed Xing Wang to taste the sweetness of the lottery. After letting go of the knot of murder, I am eager to get more lottery opportunities. Especially the thought of being able to draw characters that he particularly likes and is strong, such as Dongfang, Fate, and Yuezhan, made him feel an irresistible impulse. My host, if you want speed, you won't reach it. As if seeing through Xing Wang's emotions, System G spoke out as a reminder. Unlike the older generation of travelers, honest college students who were unfamiliar with the world before crossing clearly need to strengthen their mindset and experience, and the relatively safe environment after crossing does not immediately put too much pressure on them. However, Xing Wang still responded to the reminder from System G. I know, so I have always kept a lottery point, and since it relies on fluctuations in the world line to win, I believe it may not only be used for lottery in the future. I didn't expect the host to have a cautious side. Should the system praise and happily send any rewards to the dear host? I always feel like you have something to say. Although I didn't really understand the dark side of society before, at least I still have self-awareness. Don't worry, dear host. I believe you will adapt soon, and I really hope the host's new life can be more interesting. So is it me or you who finds it interesting? It's the same thing. System G and the host are 2 identical entities. Even if the host's goal is to become a useless person lying flat for retirement, System G will do it exactly according to the host's purpose. Do you lie flat for retirement? I'm afraid you'll be laughed to death by your time-traveling peers in other novels. Xing Wang chuckled and casually opened the news page on his computer. In the live broadcast footage of the news, a beautiful female journalist wearing professional attire is standing in front of a small alleyway blocked by a cordon with a microphone, reporting seriously. Chapter 5. Preparation. You are listening at novelfull.audio. As the forensic personnel at the East Yokohama District Police Station have pointed out, the murder case in the East Yokohama District has been reported to the Yokohama Metropolitan Police Station. As an island nation with a commercial hub as its economic mainstay, the confidence of capital far outweighs the lives of a few lowly thugs. Therefore, the first priority for the upper echelons of the police station is to appease the foreign businessmen who were frightened by the murder case in the port area. The Department of Foreign Affairs also quickly released recent domestic security reports. It can be said that last night's incident was just an exception from all aspects, and Yokohama Kyoto has good public security. Of course, all external rhetoric is the same. Although the target of this killer's attack is still just a group of thugs, no one can guarantee that it will appear next time near any foreign or high-ranking official. As for the residents near the murder, they have been doing what they should do after less than a morning of panic. As one of the most chaotic areas in the East Yokohama area, the vicinity of Donggang International Port has always been a heavily affected area for various smuggling, theft, and illegal immigration. After learning that the murderers in this incident were all ordinary thugs who acted recklessly, some residents still secretly cheered. Due to the above reasons, the search class was strictly ordered to solve the case as soon as possible. And several gangs that have lost their own younger brothers also privately expressed their willingness to contribute and implement the so-called underworld chivalry. But in fact, the search class, which should have been extremely busy, now a bunch of team members are all just waiting for the order of the middle-aged section chief who has just returned to the office after the meeting. As a peaceful Sakura Country police officer, unless it is a particularly provocative gang or one or two scattered criminals, the vast majority of them have never encountered such a culprit who killed more than 20 people overnight. Moreover, the police in Sakura Country are basically a group of paid civil servants with no strong belief in defending the people, so they are all thinking of letting others come forward to conduct on-site investigations of such heinous criminals. Although I cannot be a salary thief myself, typing documents in the office is much safer than going out to investigate cases. As for the arrest, there was a permit to carry a gun at that time. If you take a few shots, whatever the culprit is, just lie down. That's right, most police officers in Sakura Country cannot carry guns without special circumstances. The section chief's eyes soon shifted from the pile of old fritters to the newcomers who had just graduated from the search class. Young people with strong vitality are more passionate about doing things that combine opportunities and risks. Although this incident was urgently urged, from the fact that the scene of the crime was not even taken care of, it seems that the perpetrator did not pay attention to the final work after the murder, coupled with the almost straight line of the crime route. These pieces of intelligence indicate that the killer's anti-reconnaissance ability and anti-reconnaissance awareness are quite low. If it weren't for those surviving guys being overly shocked, the appearance of the killer would have already appeared on the conference table. So, in the face of such a mentally ill murderer, experienced police officers certainly don't want to rush to the front line, or in other words, no one wants to rush to the front line. But considering that it is only reconnaissance rather than arrest, and the importance of the murder ghost case, the students in the class still do not know the true promotion channels and are eager to rely on achievements for new recruits. With these thoughts in mind, the class leader looked at a list of female police officers with ponytails in the new crowd. Misaki Tokushima, aged 22 and 17, entered Yokohama Kyoto Police Academy. She graduated early with excellent grades before the age of 20. After graduation, she had 2 years of experience in apprehending violent criminals in the Metropolitan Police Department's operations team and had less than a month of experience in a search class. I am skilled in swordsmanship, and also excel in grappling and physical skills. My appearance is top-notch, and with long-term exercise, my figure is tall and agile without showing any muscle. Poison Island Police Department, you and I will be responsible for the investigation of this murderer, and of course, we will try our best to avoid any danger. In any situation, we will directly contact the action team to handle it. Yes. Look at the police at dusk. Faced with this command, Poison Island did not have much fear. After all, from the scene, the killer did not show any signs of using any firearms. Out of confidence in herself, her outstanding skills in the action team made her dare to face the killer incident directly. And as the daughter of a kendo master with a kendo dojo in her family, her identity and honor will not allow her to retreat. By the way, the Port Security Department will also provide some assistance for this operation, but don't expect too much from them. The Moo Police added a sentence. Although they are security personnel in the port area, some senior teachers know that these are all members of the gang. The location of this incident is quite sensitive, and several owners of smuggled ships who were originally preparing to deliver tonight have expressed a delay in their actions, which has caused great dissatisfaction among some gangs that profit from smuggling. But others clearly expressed their unwillingness to increase additional risks, and at the same time, they stated that the faster the handling was done, the faster the delivery would be. After that, this group of gangs quickly joined forces with the gang where their younger brother was killed before. Of course, considering the relationship with the police, we still provided a false name for port security. After finding the killer, what they need to do is beyond the control of the police. When Moo and Poison Island arrived at the container area where the incident occurred, several individuals who didn't seem to be regular security personnel were already standing there. Of course, Moo Moo, who was accustomed to this situation, didn't say much, just let them take action separately. Section Chief, they are. As a former member of the action team who was completely at odds with the Mafia, she clearly recognized the identities of these people. Don't be too particular about certain things. Everyone's goal is the killer, and even if they have problems, it's still a matter of social strategy class. After thinking for a moment, Moo Moo added in a very low voice to Poison Island, what's wrong with just letting them go and explore the mines? At the same time, Xing Wang was also contemplating the arrangements for the evening. System G, did you think there might have been too much trouble last night? What is the host worried about? The system's privacy protection is not just a beautiful vase. After all, the host has experienced such a thing for the first time, and it is inevitable to feel uneasy. By the way, what are the consequences of clone death? It seemed like something had come to mind, Xing Wang asked the system assistant. The only difference between normal recycling and returning the clone to the host system space is that the clone will be forcibly reclaimed into the system space at the moment of death. The host just needs to summon it again, and the abilities carried by the clone will not be lost. Of course, if the host is willing, they can also choose to keep a fake corpse in place. So, please don't worry about the situation of the clone at all, just use it to your heart's content. In that case, oh no, I forgot I only have 2 clones. So, System G, let's retrieve Mary's clone first. As you wish, dear host. Chapter 6. Before Awakening. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. When night fell again in the East Yokohama district, several gang members who assisted in the search under the guise of port security were still searching for clues to the killer in various places, and they believed they could find them tonight. The reason is that a survivor in the hospital, after receiving sedatives and being comforted by a psychologist, finally revealed the important information that the killer's height exceeded 2 meters. After all, in this island country where 1.8 meters is considered super tall and generally 1.6 meters tall, a height of 2 meters or more is simply too eye-catching. Therefore, the gangsters who are searching door-to-door firmly believe that such a tall guy cannot be ignored in any way. So, when Xing Wang wanted to use the clone of the Fish Man along again to explore the surrounding environment, he immediately caught the attention of several gang members. The clone is an absolute loyal existence, and the intelligence given to Xing Wang by Fish Man Along was not concealed or incorrect. In Fish Man Along's understanding, everyone who saw him was indeed killed. But Xing Wang forgot that the worldview of the Fish Man Along was the one in the One Piece, and even if his opponent fainted, it could be considered a defeat. Perhaps it's because of the teenage anime, in the world of the One Piece, painted by Oda, as long as one loses combat power, they are considered to be killed. The number of scenes in the original manga that truly express clear killing is really rare. For example, many of the enemies that the Straw Hat Boat group has defeated were just knocked unconscious. They all bounce around in the title page of the comic, but they are indeed considered to have killed the enemies. It has to be said that differences in worldviews always lead to various problems. Even though the fisherman Long disguised himself extensively using methods he knew, such as heart-shaped sunglasses, raincoat-style outerwear, clown's fake beard, and even holding a candy cane, so isn't your so-called disguise really increasing your level of suspicion? Indeed, differences in worldviews always lead to various problems, plus one adhering to the principle of not letting go of Ning Kyo's killing. The gang began to gather around the location of the Fish Man Along. About 100 thugs from 6 gangs gathered at both ends of the alley where Fish Man Along was located, each carrying a machete, and dozens of others even carrying handguns in addition to knives. On the other hand, the large-scale gathering of the Mafia clearly does not hide from Moo Moo and Poison Island, who are responsible for the murder ghost incident. Under the watchful eye, these guys may have discovered the whereabouts of the killer. It's not possible, it's certain, otherwise there wouldn't have been such a big move. Just now, I asked their contact person who stayed here and said it's normal to gather and count the number of people, prepare to buy dinner, So what should we do? Although I think that murderer's crime is heinous, no matter what, any criminal must go through the court's trial and be executed by the court. The very positive and serious gaze made Moo Moo once again face the heroic female police officer who had recently been transferred from the operation team. After thinking for a moment, he secretly said to Poison Island. I have already informed the social countermeasures class and the police department action team, and our police agents in the gang will also provide us with intelligence. Looking around with renewed vigilance, Moo Moo continued. If they really catch that killer, then we'll come forward directly. If both sides are injured, then we'll catch them all under the pretext of the Weapons Control Act and private combat. The police are watching you. Yes, I've said not to be too particular about certain things. I haven't really cared about the life or death of that killer or that group of gangsters in private, but since there's a chance to become a yellow sparrow, why not seize it? Undoubtedly, as an official who has experienced great storms, I effortlessly stated that everything has been arranged, whether it is the achievements of capturing murderers or surrounding gangsters. The police station stated that I have no choice but to take everything. On the other hand, although Xing Wang clearly stated that he did not want to personally participate in the battle this time, he did not immerse himself in the gentle countryside of beautiful maids like last time. By manipulating the system, he projected the perspective of Fish Man along into his mind. However, when he discovered the ridiculous disguise of Fish Man along, a large number of gangsters had already blocked both ends of the alley. We are the security personnel of the port area. That big guy immediately squat down with his head in his arms. Accept the inspection. Just because it can be said that the height of the entire island country can be considered unique cannot be conclusive evidence, even if the likelihood of this guy in front of him being a murderer is as high as 99%. So the armed gangsters did not come up and take action immediately, but Xing Wang, whose mind was not yet fully mature, clearly had not transformed from an ordinary college student to a truly decisive assassin. This ferocious voice immediately made ordinary young people who had lived in a harmonious society in their previous lives panic. Subconsciously shouted. It's not me, I didn't do anything wrong. Then the Fish Man Long, who was being manipulated, shouted out this sentence. Okay, travelers from all over the world, let's throw this shameful guy out. Obviously, the words of the Fish Man Long greatly fueled the arrogant atmosphere of the gangsters. Several small thugs immediately gathered around, patting their knives and jokingly looking at this tall man over 2 meters tall. It's up to you the final say whether you do something bad or not. You should stay down quickly and honestly. This big guy, that's all. I'm afraid he grew up eating feed. We haven't said anything yet, why don't you know it's you? You look like you're dressed like a lunatic. Did you also have a lunatic last night? I'll explain it honestly, maybe I can give you some pleasure. Various mocking words began to emerge from the mouths of young thugs, and Xing Wang, who was far away from home and knew he had been foolish, blushed. There are reasons for shame as well as reasons for anger. Dear host, don't worry about the words of the dead. Please adapt slowly. System G will always be by the host's side. As for this, let Long handle it according to his original nature. System G did not show the cunning smile of the Crazy 3 logo as before, but instead completely ignored Xing Wang's loss of composure and gently hugged him from behind. Feeling the softness behind him, Xing Wang gently pushed away the little fairy as if he had made up his mind. At the same time, loudly command. Replace the original personality of Fish Man along with the current clone. The control of the body is completely entrusted to the clone to act according to their character's original personality. At the same time, this time I want to use my first perspective as an observer to see through the entire process. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. Chapter 7. First Contact. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Blood, staining the entire alley red. Only being able to knock out the enemy on the opposite side is a limited patent of the Straw Hat Pirates, and as the leader of the Dragon Pirates, Long clearly has no intention of learning this behavior. The East China Sea pirate who appeared in the early plot of The One Piece is a complete villain who values human life like grass, and is also an extreme racist who prioritizes the mermaid race. At the moment of switching personalities, the sawtooth sword / the peak appeared in the hands of the fish man along from the void space. Cross-cutting, vertical chopping, oblique chopping. The little thug on the opposite side has no one-in-one enemy, and the powerful power to lift the house makes any attempt to block become like a mantis arm blocking a car. With one strike, at least one gang thug with a knife will be split in half. A sweep can take the lives of several people. The bloody smell stimulates the senses of ordinary people. Although a few thugs are aroused with ferocity, more thugs are just scared out of their wits and want to flee. The alley, which is only 3 people wide, has become a bloody hunting ground for the fish man along, and those thugs squeezed together have become his best prey. Several elite gunmen who were squeezed in the crowd also tried to shoot at the fish man along, but the steel-like skin of the shark race completely ignored these small firearms from the other world. Especially when Fish Man alone, in front of everyone, used his powerful jaw to bite off a World Navy shell from The One Piece, the morale of the gang thugs completely collapsed. Monster! Monster! Help! Help me quickly! Murderers are real killers. The crying and shouting of thugs filled the entire neighborhood, and the police, who had originally planned to use it as a yellow sparrow and had set it up 2 streets away, also rushed to the scene of the incident. Moo Moo and Poison Island, located far away in the port, naturally received news of the 2 sides engaging in war. Under the watchful eyes of the police, it seems that the gang has already engaged in a firefight with the killer. Well, it seems we need to take action too. Poison Island, get ready. Hi. In the traditional search stage of the Sakura State Police, as long as it is not a search of a special nature, the police officers of the search class can only be equipped with low-end devices such as police riot spray during normal searches. This is also one of the reasons why some police officers are unwilling to take on the search for dangerous criminals like murderers. This time, considering the ferocity of the murderer, it was only allowed to bring the samurai sword from the dojo in Poison Island's home. After all, whether or not to use a gun during the search phase is one of the standards used by Sakura Kingdom to measure public security, and upper-level bureaucrats do not want to carry the unpleasant resume of declining public security during their tenure. The police station action team outside the neighborhood, preparing to ambush gangs and murderers, was equipped with riot shields and pistols, but they deployed to represent the case as it entered the arrest phase. This has nothing to do with the fact that the 2 police officers from the search class did not come out with guns before. Of course, in fact, they have already entered the arrest phase, but if they want to be armed, the 2 must return to the police station. Out of trust in the operation team, Momo and Poison Island naturally rushed directly to the scene of the incident. When the vanguard of the police station operation team arrived, the ground was already covered with corpses from the underworld, and the fisherman Long stood in the center of the corpses. In the process of chasing from the alley to the outside streets, those useless camouflages have already been thrown away completely. The current fish man, Long, is like in the manga. With a shark-like big mouth, blazing teeth, a jagged nose, and a huge serrated knife still dripping blood. What a monster! It's not a mask, it's a real face. How could there be such a person? Several police officers from the police station's action team sighed as they looked at the tall and evil fisherman Long, and many of them vomited on the spot as they looked at the missing bodies in the area. But there are also some police officers who keep swallowing saliva in their throats, while using trembling feet to hold up riot shields to form a shield wall and slowly advance forward. Scared weak humans dare to resist, a rough voice emanated from the mouth of the tall monster, and the originally estimated 2 meters were still conservative. The height of 2.6 meters was even higher than the current world's highest height of 2.4 meters. The idea that this guy is not human is appearing in everyone's minds. Perhaps it was because he saw the police only surrounding and not attacking, and the fish man Long, who had killed a lot, did not take action. Instead, he looked at the row of guys holding black shields. The instruction given by Xing Wang was to completely replace the clone with the original form of the fish man Long, so when he saw these humans wearing clothes he had never seen before, curiosity temporarily replaced the desire to kill and gained the upper hand. And just as Fish Man alone scrutinized the attire of the Sakura Kingdom police, Moo Moo and Poison Island also rushed to the scene. Moo Moo did not blame the team members who were vomiting, after all, they were just police officers, not soldiers. He had never seen such terrifying scenes of corpses and blood that only appeared on the battlefield. No, even some soldiers may not be able to bear it. This is not the kind of complete corpse with only one or several gun holes in modern gunfights. It's all a pile of flesh cut alive with cold weapons. It's really beyond imagination. Looking at the pistols and broken knives mixed in the body, Poison Island couldn't help but grip the samurai sword in her hand, as if it could give her courage. But she also understands very well that this is just psychological comfort. In front of the opponent's serrated sword, the fragile samurai sword is not much different from those rogue knives, and even with the skillful force of swordsmanship, the wrist may not be able to withstand a heavy blow in that moment. Do you want to attack? The captain of the action team looked at the commanding officer in charge of the surveillance. Surround and wait for support. Moo Moo also judged from the firearms in the hands of the gang corpses on the ground that the other party seemed not afraid of handguns or had a way to restrain them. So he gave up the current order to attack and instead prioritized spreading the intelligence of the killer and calling for support. But the fish man Long in the field clearly didn't have a good temper to be watched. Looking at the police shield wall more than 10 meters away, he continued to speak. Scared, haha, humans. In front of the dragon, you are so fragile that you don't surrender obediently. Then hand over all your money. Dragon. This killer claims to be a dragon. What does it mean? A simple name. Is the race dragon? Or a title? A series of intelligence was submitted at the highest speed through the on-site camera. The officials hiding behind had already sat in the conference room and watched the large screen projected on the scene when they learned the true face of the killer. The possibility that this killer is not human has also been brought to the table for the first time. Non-human organisms. Genetic mutation. Transformer. Even extraterrestrial life. Various speculations were proposed by think tanks, and the only unified conclusion drawn is: try to capture as alive as possible. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. Chapter 8. Opening. You are listening at novelfull.audio. After the order for live capture was issued, a group of action team members instantly greeted the commander and his family who issued the order countless times in their hearts. Are you all blind at the scene? Do you want us to go up like this monster that's almost 2 people tall? If it really depends on the number of people, then what are the gangsters in this area? For a moment, all the police officers stopped in place instead. Fish Man Long seemed very satisfied with the deterrent effect he had caused, and casually kicked one or half of the corpse at his feet onto the street. The body collided with the garbage bin on the roadside, and a large group of flies flew out of the overturned garbage bin, which was disturbed by the destruction of their wonderful garbage bin kingdom. The buzzing scene was like a surviving mafia now scattered and running away in panic and chaos. The so-called loyalty of the underworld and the belief of Ren Xia were all cut into pieces by the serrated sword of the fish man Long at this moment. It's such a monster that the order given was not to shoot on the spot, but let the action team use their flesh and blood to come forward and capture him alive. That serrated knife is longer than the riot steel fork in my hand. On the other side, watching the thugs frantically escaping around the police force. Ah Long let out his iconic laughter again. Scared, huh? Is the Navy and pirates actually a gang? Well, it seems that no matter where they are, there are guys who collude for benefits. So is Shiping, and so are the other members of the Sun Pirates. Ah. 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 Why do fish, who are the greatest and most noble races in the world, obey the Navy? Why join the King's 7 martial seas? So, only my dragon can become the savior of the mermaid tribe. Only my dragon can truly establish an empire of mermaids. The speech echoed through the entire neighborhood like a madman, and the arrogant words revealed how wild and unrestrained he was. The members of the Metropolitan Police Operations Team held onto the Smith Wesson M37 revolver that had just been imported from Lighthouse Country and stared at this crazy big guy. Compared with the Sakura Country modified Southern M60 Sakura rotary pistol, which can only be applied for by ordinary police officers in Sakura Country under special circumstances, this rotary pistol, which can hold 5 high-power 9mm caliber bullets, although slightly inferior in accuracy, has a significantly higher stopping effect on the human body during shooting than the latter, thus more in line with the police's personal weapon requirements. The police officer who raised the pistol was clearly seen as an extremely provocative behavior in the eyes of the fisherman A Long. The lightweight and compact appearance of the police pistol also gave the fisherman A Long a sense of disrespect. So the serrated knife that was originally carried on the shoulder to scrutinize these unseen navies has now returned to a grip state ready to exert force and strike people. Faced with this explosive situation, the Moo Moo police clearly had no intention of going out and shouting, and retreated directly to the back of the street corner warning line. Of course, he also didn't forget to bring the stunned Poison Island, which had already been completely attracted by the violent form of the fish man A Long. Poison Island Police Department Supplement, do you actually like this type of thing? After feeling away from danger, the Moo Moo Police Department deliberately joked to Poison Island to alleviate the pressure brought by the fish man A Long. No, I just feel like my warrior consciousness is urging me and warning me. The former makes me crave a crazy and dangerous battle, but the latter reminds me that this is an opponent that I completely cannot reach. Then be honest and watch from behind. Life is the first priority. The middle-aged and overweight class leader clearly did not seriously study kendo, nor did he have the so-called martial arts consciousness. When facing Poison Island, he only gave an ordinary person's opinion. But on the other hand, weren't you from the operation team before on Poison Island? Don't worry about them. I used to be from Team 3 of the action team, and here's Team 2. And there have been rumors that someone in Team 2 is colluding with the Mafia, but there is no evidence. No wonder every time it's a task that 2 teams are responsible for, the other teams won't take action. It seems like there's a problem. Although it may sound like this, as the head of the lesson, Moo Moo still guessed something. After all, there will always be people who take risks to gain benefits, and the only question is whether the benefits are sufficient. Not long after Poison Island and Moo Moo retreated to the rear, the patience of the fish man A Long seemed to have been completely exhausted, and the huge serrated knife fiercely smashed towards the ground. The huge sound intimidated the police officers of the action team. It's like the horn of war. Bang! 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 The trigger of the pistol triggered the long-awaited firing pin, and the pungent smell of gunpowder began to manifest itself in the bloody air. The already tense action team is learning from their colleagues in the Lighthouse Country across the sea to clear 5 bullets from their guns in one breath. Faced with the attacks of these firearms, the fish man A Long demonstrated his strong jumping ability. The bullets fired from the flat shot did not hit the target, while the killer in mid-air was ready to charge into the crowd. Shark on darts. One of the moves of Fish Man and Dragon, it charges forward at a fast speed and hits the enemy in front of it. The police officers holding riot shields in the front row were directly hit into the 10-meter-high sky, and the bent and deformed shields silently mocked the overestimated roadblocks. The police officers with guns in the back row were not spared, and a single blow from the serrated knife swept away 1,000 soldiers, leaving them forever in this world. In an instant, the police's defense line was breached. As if showing off, Fishman Long did not continue to chase the other police officers who were retreating with his serrated knife. Instead, he used his proudest strength to smash vehicles from the roadside into the houses on both sides of the road. As if making territorial markings. Fortunately, there was no one around, otherwise it would have been troublesome. The Moo Moo police finally felt that these gangsters had done a good deed this time, that they had driven all the people on this street out of various considerations while surrounding the Fishman Long. But if there are no people on this street, it doesn't mean that the nearby street is also uninhabited. If Fishman Long rushes to a densely populated area outside, that would be the disaster for Yokohama Kyoto. What are the people on the front line doing? They haven't stopped that monster yet. These useless people, receiving public salaries, can't stop anyone with so many people. Didn't even hit a single shot. These people's so-called training is just a scam on funding, right? This is definitely the experimental transformation soldiers of Lighthouse Nation. Before I could finish speaking, I was covered by a nearby think tank. In short, we need to stop this killer first and contact the self-defense forces, but do not notify the Lighthouse Nation's garrison for now. The chief police officer has issued a new order. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. The 9th Octopus Man. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Since ancient times, the bureaucratic institutions and underworld of Sakura Kingdom have had default rules on both sides. Interest represents everything, and the massive political donations from the underworld have transformed these feudal aristocratic families that should have become history into new era legislators and officials, and the benefits they receive are the legalization of the mafia and its grey industries. Similarly, for the sake of profit, both sides also have fast intelligence channels. When the order of the police chief had not yet been conveyed, the real news of the murderers brought by the fleeing thugs naturally reached the hands of their respective supporting legislators. Strong physique, exaggerated muscles, giant height, and an extraordinary body all allow these legislators to see a new stage of life. The assumption that it was a biological weapon was overturned in the roar of the Fishman Long. Although it cannot be ruled out that it was a brainwashing consequence, shark on darts seemed to give a decisive blow, refreshing everyone's common sense. This is definitely not something that the current technological power of the world can achieve. So after ruling out the impossibility, is there really a mermaid race in the world? Is there any other non-human race? Do gods, demons, evil spirits, and spirits really exist? Even imaginative legislators have already associated themselves with rejuvenation and immortality. The mysterious new world has lifted its first veil, and the new discovery has prompted officials in Yokohama who received news to drive to the police station. The self-defense force secretly dispatched and weapons permits were quickly issued, but this killer, no. This alien who claims to be a fish man must stay. When the entire Yokohama Capitol Police and suburban self-defense forces began to mobilize, the fisherman Aaron was enjoying his spoils of war. Various bento items on the shelves at a convenience store had been smashed open by a car. It seems that this so-called fish man is similar to us in terms of food. But he ate so much, this is already the 17th box of bento, isn't it? Megumi and Tokushima, who had retreated further into the safety zone, were looking at the figure feasting on food through a telescope and sighing. The command to change the code name of the killer ghost to Fishman has been received, and the frontline task has been changed from arrest to surveillance. The surviving peripheral ordinary police officers are transporting some seriously injured members of the operation team to medical vehicles. Of course, it's not because of their heroism outbreak, but because since Fishman Long sat down at the convenience store and started eating, he hasn't turned back to pay attention to crossing the street, even when a medical staff member carried an injured person away from the convenience store door. It's really hell, it's even more devastating than earthquakes 20 years ago. An old police officer said while carrying a stretcher. Not to mention the casualties of the initial gang of gangsters, the number of police officers killed on the spot by the Metropolitan Police Department's action team alone reached 46, setting a new record for the largest number of human deaths since the reign of Emperor Sakura. If it weren't for the regional clearance order issued by the director of the police station, the information about this shocking murder that could have shocked Sakura country had not been disseminated yet. It was feared that the people living normally 2 streets away would have fled in panic. When Fish Man Long finished his 30th serving of bento, a large number of support troops finally arrived. The members of the self-defense force equipped with 2 quasi-military weapons, the Fenghe assault rifle and the Fenghe automatic rifle, produced by Sakura country, gave the on-site personnel great confidence. Although these 2 guns were only replicas of the AR series rifles equipped by Lighthouse Country soldiers, they were far better than police guns that could prevent excessive damage to targets and endanger innocent people. Not to mention the Sumitomo-style general-purpose machine gun that was erected at the street corner. At the same time as the escalation of force on site, the specifications of the police conference room have also been upgraded. The police director, who was originally the leader of the conference, has given way to a heavyweight member of parliament, and next to the member, there is also a representative sent by the Prime Minister. As previously arranged, use fishing nets, high-power electric guns, and high-dose anesthesia bullets first. If the target wants to escape, live ammunition is allowed, but the body must be recovered. In the eyes of these powerful figures in the Sakura country, the sacrifice of human lives before is just a simple number, and a major breakthrough in the unknown is their concern. At present, although the strength displayed by the Fish Man is terrifying, it is still within a certain acceptable range. After all, the Fish Man alone has only demonstrated his strong physical strength and has not shown any special abilities. Bang! The sniper Remington sounded the horn for the start of the 3rd battle. The specially designed high-dose anesthetic bullet hit the Fish Man along without any suspense, and the soldiers lurking outside the shop also fired mesh grenades with paralyzing currents. Everything went as planned, and when the net covered the Fish Man along, almost everyone in the conference room believed that they had successfully captured this strange creature. Shark on Toothed Car. As a member of the shark race, the sharp teeth of the mermaid Orang are one of his weapons, and the shark on tooth car is a biting attack that uses its teeth in conjunction with its rapidly rotating body. The specially designed large net was easily torn apart, and the anesthetic did not have the desired effect. Although the approaching self-defense force members reacted, the guns were still loaded with the same anesthetic bullets as the sniper. Perhaps the heap dose really has a certain effect, but they have no chance of waiting until then. The Fish Man Long who crashed into the convenience store did not stop, and his serrated knife fiercely smashed into the ground of the street. A large amount of tap water gushed out with the damaged underground water pipes. In an instant, the entire street was covered in a small rain caused by tap water. Fishman Roots. The Fishman tribe has greatly enhanced their abilities in the water, and the already strong Orang is now even more powerful. Not to mention the anesthesia bullet, even the 7.62mm full-power bullet of the Sumitomo machine gun mounted at the intersection is completely powerless against him. The huge serrated knife once again became a weapon for harvesting life, and the self-defense force members who came secretly and were only equipped with light weapons were severely injured. The camera faithfully conveyed the impact to the conference room of the police station, and the emotions of the legislators were like a roller coaster falling directly from the clouds into hell. Failed, completely failed. The destruction of streets, casualties, and damage to buildings all require payment from the national treasury, not to mention the economic impact afterwards. What's even more dangerous is that the personnel present can no longer stop the fishermen, and once heavy weapons are used, any plan to secretly swallow the fisherman's secret will be completely ruined. The stationed lighthouse country will not let go of such a good thing. While the members in the conference room were in a state of anxiety, Xing Wang, who believed he had enough, chose to end the incident. System, recycling fish man and dragon. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. Chapter 10. Overture conclusion. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Xing Wang is not Zhang Fei from the Three Kingdoms, nor does he have the bold nature. And the psychological characteristic of action courage, which only has temporary stability, always comes and goes quickly. Xing Wang, who thought he was used to watching the bloody scenes in war movies, was now lying on the sink in the bathroom, vomiting profusely. Even if it is only observed through the eyes of the clone, even if it is isolated from the pungent smell of blood. The impact of real-life visuals is not the fake props in movies or the beautified scenes in post-production. Faced with the terrifying scene of severed limbs flying horizontally and organs everywhere, this first-time truly bloody traveler truly felt that indescribable mental discomfort. No wonder experienced veterans suffer from war trauma, and no wonder brave firefighters also need psychological counseling. Just vomiting like this is already considered good. System G did not appear, she knew it was a battle within Xing Wang's own heart. Winning means breaking through oneself. Defeat leads to lethargy and stagnation. The king and the coward are distinguished in such a series of self-battles. While Xing Wang was engaged in his own battle, their struggle was also taking place on the other side. Because Xing Wang did not retrieve the clone in front of everyone, but instead allowed it to hide in the smashed sewer before disappearing. Unknowingly, the Sakura Kingdom police only believe that the fisherman Aaron really escaped with the help of Yokohama Keio's intricate sewer system. At present, the police in the entire Yokohama capital have been mobilized, and the company responsible for sewer cleaning in daily life is required to conduct high-intensity inspections of the entire sewer pipeline. On the internet, although no information about the fish man has been leaked, the number of police cars and ambulances that have been laid out for a whole street near the scene is already news material worth reporting on the front page. Crazy media are seeking first-hand information, and even combat smoke videos filmed from afar have become the object of their pursuit. From the end of the war in the Lighthouse Nation to the present, Sakura Nation has never experienced such massive human casualties in a century. This is no longer just a level of criminal case, it's not an exaggeration to say it's a battle conflict. Residents in the East Yokohama district have also been unable to get a good night's sleep for 2 consecutive days, and the police car roaring past the window in less than 5 minutes has caused many shallow sleeping residents to complain. The most direct profiteer is probably the owner of a late-night snack shop in the East Yokohama area. The starving police officers on patrol allowed them to make a good profit tonight. The conference room of the police station was brightly lit, and before Moo Moo could even smoke a cigarette, he was brought to the big shots and asked for a report on the scene. Power, speed, and responsiveness are all far superior to ordinary people, using only cold weapons and unarmed combat, with no record of using firearms or other hot weapons. The body is large but does not affect coordination, and all movements are not sluggish. Strong explosive power, capable of grabbing a car with bare hands and smashing it into a building. Having drug resistance or similar resistance, police anesthetics do not have the desired effect. The Sakura Mandarin used in language has a similar diet to ordinary humans, but it has a huge appetite. Water seems to have a reinforcing effect on it, and the target's combat effectiveness significantly increases in the rainwater produced by the burst tap water. Of course, this is still under study. With the report from the Moo Moo police station, the large screen on the wall also kept playing the relevant records of the battle. So, Mr. Police Officer, do the police still have the ability to catch fishermen? Ignoring the pale-faced police chief next to him, the elderly politician with white hair and sitting in the front seat asked directly. Your Excellency President Ito Yashifu, we will do our best. The tone of alarm at dusk is very firm, but the conference room is full of old fogies who have been fighting in the officialdom for a long time. They don't know how many people have heard of this kind of determined and coping officialdom. Of course, they will not openly poke through that layer of hypocritical paper curtain. On the premise that the other party is not yet their political enemy. What about the self-defense forces? Ignoring the upright gaze of the Megumi police, Ito Yoshisuo's attention shifted to the officers stationed in Yokohama and the Sakura defense minister. According to the analysis, light tanks may not be able to defend against enemy attacks, but in previous battles, the shooting effects of sniper guns and light machine guns have been proven to be effective. The opponent's action may be exaggerated, but it is still within the scope of human beings. Just killed, it is recommended to deploy helicopters for long-range attacks in open areas. To capture alive, heavy combat convoys must be deployed for encirclement, and equipped with deep-sea whaling guns and special nets. On the Ministry of Defense's side, there are faint signs of the situation being exposed. The military chief of Lighthouse Country in our country has sent a request for a meeting. Currently, His Excellency the Minister of Defense is trying to delay the process. Once a secret is known by multiple people, it means it is no longer a secret, it is just a matter of time difference in intelligence. The huge disturbance in the East Yokohama area cannot be concealed from the eyes of the Lighthouse garrison. Not to mention those escaped thugs who can create a lot of rumors in the community. What about Your Excellency, Prime Minister? Ito Yashifu turned to another affairs officer dressed in a suit and leather shoes. Your Excellency, the Prime Minister's suggestion is to acknowledge to the outside world that we have been attacked by international terrorism, but we must conceal the intelligence of the fishmen. If necessary, we can make some sacrifices. The sacrifice here certainly does not refer to the Prime Minister himself or a prominent figure present, but rather to the mafia gangs that were involved in the early stages of the incident. In their eyes, cheating and blaming others are just small tricks. Since those thugs are really not strict with their mouths, let them keep them shut forever. Nodding towards the Prime Minister's representative, the Speaker of the Parliament expressed that he and the parliamentary forces he represented would fully agree to act on the Prime Minister's suggestion in this event. That's right, this is a sacrifice for the country. Exactly, these smugglers may have been bought by terrorist organizations long ago. Agree, during this special period, we should also make our own choices. Several members of Parliament, also dressed in luxurious custom-made suits, catered to this elderly man representing the interests of the members of the Parliament, as if the mafia gangs that had previously offered large sums of money to curry favor with them had never existed. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th.